gaining some fame. I think some of you have been here to hear Andy Sickman talk about them, and he's got a new book coming. And most of the hectares are geographically located in Mexico. Yes, there's a few down in Central America. Yes, there's one in Texas. But by and large, the hectares are in Mexico and the dickeas are in Brazil. And theoretically, what this indicates, as we well know, bromeliads are a young family. They're maybe 15 million years old. Orchids are like 120 million years old. That's why they have so many species, and they're so highly developed. Look at this one, though. This one we could actually genuinely say is variegated. You see the, or media picta. You see the light color down the middle, dark color next to the spines, and we've got a little bit of gray zonation there. You see the radial pattern. I love this one. Okay, this is technically not variegated, but I want to make a point. Some of the all-white dickeas and all-white hectares are so dramatic. The thing about this one is Hectea argentea. It's so hard to get this plant, the real plant. You know, people sell it to you on the web, forget it, it's not real. And he's sick and a few other people have it. But here's what's so astonishing. This plant, this exact plant, was in the 1864 Kew Gardens annual top show. Yes, the plant is 150 years old. And it's been in Kew Gardens in that spot for 150 years. They think that some of the hectares, some of the dickeas, some of the anquilariums that they find out in the wild in habitat could be as much as 300, 400, 500 years old. We don't know, but if you look at the length of the growth, of the old growth, they can be 8 feet long. All right, move on. So we're into another genus. This is a new Guzmania, unnamed, one second. An unnamed hybrid from 2 years ago by Chester. And again, we don't see white, but we do have two kinds of green, and the bicoloration extends up to the flower. The fact that this does not have albinate cells, and many of the Guzmanias, it turns out, are able to be TC, tissue cultured. This may be clonable. I mean, you know, anybody can sell a couple million of those around the world overnight, and they grow relatively quickly. A Guzmania coniferea, it's a species, but this is the alba marginated form from Belgium. And you know, I'm not going to disparage the Europeans too much, but you know, over the last 200, 300 years, they robbed and raped South America, and they raped it for many kinds of plants, but all the modern bromeliads are stolen genetics. Some people, like the Dutch, are giving money to the countries for what they've received. Other people don't. Okay, Guzmania encore. It's a Dutch hybrid, red on red, red on pink. Here's another great one, Denise from Holland. There's a commercial plant, but I think they grow this for pups. But look at it, consistent, nice, white variegation without breaking up. Look at it's probably a Lineolata hybrid. Nice spike. Okay, I used to import these. I was one of the first people to bring in the Dutch plants. Here's a species, Guzmania zanii. This is the variegated form. So somebody grew enough of these to have a seedling come up or a sport, and then all the others were pups. But it's a great, but it's a big plant. It's about a 2-foot plant. Soft leaves, remember, all Guzmanias have to grow under shade cloth or under protection from the midday sun. They don't want to be kept in cold temperatures and kept wet. Here's Whitmaki variegated. Here's a better shot of one. And that's a species, but it's an improved one. Look at that, though. And they sold 1 million or 2 million or whatever these. This Holland plant. Another one for Holland. Ice cream, a Lineolata, essentially a media picta. Okay, here's the true Lineolata, the large one, the variegated one, natural species from Venezuela. And Guzmania Empire, it's another Dutch one. Okay, we're on a new genus, Hohenbergia. And this is maybe the greatest Hohenbergia ever, in my opinion. I love Hohenbergias. Many people say, what is it? You'll see a little thing, it's kind of fat at the bottom. I love them. But this is about 18 to 24 inches tall. It's a German hybrid made like 30 years ago. And there's different clones. This is one of the best clones I've ever seen. That's in Australia. And then we got Carla, another great clone in Japan. And all right, so just to give it again, we're jumping out of the bromeliads to refresh our minds about what variegation means in other plants. You know, there's probably 1,000 or 2,000 great variegated hostas. And you know, they grow them a lot on the East Coast. We don't have that many out here, but you can order them out of catalogs, and they're great plants. Here's another one. You know, it goes on and on and on. And some are small leaves, some big leaves. The flowers are insignificant, but the great plant. Okay, this is to show that succulents, some of the great succulents. And again, most of these variegated truncatas and variegated haworthias are done by the Japanese. That's like $1,000 plant. You know, it's like 8 inches. And here's another incredible variegated haworthia. And then we have something we all know, Sansevieria trifasciata, Laurentii. It's one of the most common commercial plants in the world. These actually take a long time to grow, but they can tissue culture these. And, okay, and here's another trifasciata, the Honii. That's the small ones, they're beautiful. And then we got, there's all kinds of variegated Sansevierias. On my Planet Sansevieria, about half the photos that get posted are variegated forms. And in Indonesia and in China, this stuff is through the roof expensive. They have people that, they have 20-foot iron steel fences, gates around their properties, and dogs and alarms. It's like a Swiss bank. You know, they'll steal them. All right. There's a great hybrid, maybe a Masonia, I don't know. I'm not that good on my hybrids and species of Sansevieria. Here's a paniculata. These are small and very beautiful, pointed. All right, and this is one of my favorites, technically not variegated, but look at this, Sansevieria Cleopatra, again, dramatic effect caused by high contrast of colors. Fantastic plant. These go for like $200. I'm sorry to keep throwing money at you, but it's part of our culture, and it's part of why we collect plants. All right, this is from my Bromeliads of South Africa. What I did was I didn't just start planets. I started things for each country. I did this started 7 years ago. I hated Facebook. I have no, you know, to me, regular Facebook is meaningless. Look at my Porsche, look at my pretty girlfriend, eat my religion, you know, suck my politics, whatever it is, it's pathetic. So what I realized though, was that if you took out all the crap and you focused solely on nature and science and plants, that you could have a meaningful experience for people. And the other difference with my group, so this is all kinds of chesters and other plants, but that were sold to South African nurseries years ago, and now there's vibrant clubs there, not big ones, but like ours. All right, so now we're going to start in the Neos, and you're going to hear the name Scotac a lot. I sort of apologize, but not really. Neo Alcatraz, almost everything you're going to see, I'll tell you what it's not, Scotac. Atomic Blast, Scotac. Now, he has one dealer in America, her name's Eloise Beach, she's in Florida, she does not ship. It's crazy, she's a little fakakta. She doesn't ship, she charges way too much, but believe me, it's hard to get these plants stabilized. And that's part of what she does. Chester will send her something, the first one, and then she has to spend 10 or 15 years propagating, and some of those have reversions. So, but I mean, the little tiny mini Scotacs are 65, 75, $100 a pop. She's not cheap, but she has good stuff. All right, this is one from Australia, not Scotac, called Bevy B. I like the sort of soft infusion of pink here. All right, by Lisa Vinzant, Cat's Pajamas. I love this plant. Look at this. It's got the yellowish in the center, and then as you move out to the leaves, it gets sort of reddish or darker. But look at that consistent, beautiful zonation. Again, anthocyanin is the name of the chemical that changes the color. Stunning plant. Okay, now these are in Thailand, and these are Chester's plants, and I think they're properly named. The difference is, the problem is this: the minute you ship things outside the United States, and even in the United States, unscrupulous growers and nurserymen will rename plants anything they want to gain a marketing advantage. And that's part of the problem we have. But dark snow, neoblast, sorry, let's move. Another Chester plant, black opal, I think that's Australia. Here's blushing zebra, Chester. This is a medium plant. Those other two, the last two were big. That was a pup clip. We have this in LA, Australian hybrid. It's harder to see here, but it's got fine yellow stippling, spotting all over it. And And one of the great species ever, this is in our show, a small, not a great one, but a decent one, was in the Culver City show, this last show, Neojohannes de Rolf. And Neojohannes de Rolf, there's a plain green species form. This is the variegated form, and the best ones get about 3 feet, 2.5, 3 feet. But look at that. You got the formula here. Zonation, albomargination, striation, stunning plant. Nature. Okay. Neo-hybrid, Thailand. Again, people are, early on, Chester established where the interest was, and they're chasing him now. It's like a road race. This is one of my favorite hybridizers. I think Andrew Devonshire, become a good friend of mine. He's one of my great members. He's out of New Zealand, and it's probably got gold pheasant in it. That's only about a 6-inch plant, 7-inch plant. It's not a true mini, it's what we call a midi. But look at the way it clusters and clumps, and look at the contrast. Fantastic. Okay, Captain Moxley, one of the great Chester hybrids. We see it in our show occasionally. And then we'll probably see different forms of it. Again, there are different clones. Sometimes he'll throw away the bad clones. Sometimes he likes the not so great clones enough to keep them alive. You got to remember that there's a Moxley being sold by Chop Florida. Chester starts 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 seedlings a year, and maybe keeps 50 or 100 plants. Now, he grows those to full size to see what they are, but they get thrown under. They get toasted, ground up, because his attitude is we got to mimic nature in choosing the best of the best. Otherwise, what's the point? There's a different. Now this is actually in his property. It looks different again. Let's go just for educational purposes, real quick. Moxley, 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 all different, but all Moxley. All right, and early Chester hybrid, Castigado. This early meaning 35 years ago. Nobody else was doing this stuff. The light center, the darker tips, red on red, striation, a little bit of zonation. Fabulous. That's a big plant, 20 inches. This is a new shot. It's actually a relatively recent, in the last 15 years. This is one of Chester's, Neobodacious. That's being grown in Australia and being released there. Fantastic. That's about a 20-inch plant too. It's a big plant. All right, we all love this. This is around here, very easy to get. Our club members have it. It's a small neo. It's 5, 6 inches, but it clumps beautifully. It's an old-time variegated or albomarginated, pink marginations. Neodonger, and that's a friend's 25-year clump. And here's a good one from Australia. Again, dramatic because of contrast. Ed Prince ties Blushing Tiger. That's about a 14-inch plant, not giant, but beautiful conformation. You see that, right? How round it is in terms of leaf count. Okay. Another one by Lisa Vinzant, Blueberry Tiger. Fantastic. This is a midi, like 12 inches. It's around. You can get it. It's a beautiful plant. All right, keep moving. Two of the ones that we see all the time around here, and are some of Chester's most famous. Neo Harpo on the left, Wild Rabbit on the right. But these are two of the best clones I've ever seen, because they get bigger or smaller, or they have less conformation, whatever. Let's move on. I believe this is an Australian hybrid. I don't think it's Chester's at all. But I love these dark variegated plants. I'll have a close in a minute, but look at that. Dark purple on light purple with red, occasional white striations, copious amounts of purple zonation cross-hatching across the leaves, and look at it. This is the exact opposite of 98% of all Neoregelias. Most Neoregelias get dark in the middle and have light leaves at the edges when they bloom. This one stays light in the middle and has darkness at the edges. So just to go back 1 second, there it is. And that's a big plant. That's like a 24-inch plant. And look how good the leaf count and the conformation, it's just a real winner. Okay, more native, meaning native to Australia growers. Nothing's native there. All bromeliads come from the Americas. But this is Russell Holzheimer, the guy who does the Bill Burgess. He also does neos. And there's all kinds of good stuff. No names yet. One of the classic great ones, named after Dr. Jeffrey Block back in Florida. I met him at the 2012 WBC, the World Bromeliad Conference. Very nice man. And this is named after him. It's by another grower, a hybridizer. But it's just a very large, stunning plant. And this shows you that without zonation, but with great striation, you got a winner. Look at that plant. It's crazy. Okay, keep going. How am I doing on time?
About 10 more minutes.
Okay, well, we're going to speed up. Inkwell, early Chester one, 30 years ago. Sonic Candy Stripes, Australia. From there, Hellacious, Scotac. There's many forms of this, many cultivars, but it's about a 20-inch plant. It's a great plant. So you have Bodacious, Hellacious. This shows you Hellacious from Singapore. You know, they tend to be fairly rich in Singapore, so they can afford to get plants from all over the world. This was just in last week's San Diego show. And again, this shows you, to some degree, what these complex hybrids, you see it's Carolina Variegated times Hannibal Lecter, which is a 2-species crossed by Chester, times Tiger. Now, Tiger was just there's a bunch of things called Tiger, okay? But they tend to be from Chester, they tend to be Shakara Dome times something else. So there are 5 or 6 parent plants going back probably 20 or 30 years to make the plant you're looking at. That's a big plant. That clump was about this big, about 30 inches, 36 inches. It got best in show for Neos. Look at that thing. It's just stunning. You know, what would you pay? I'd pay a couple grand, except I have no money. Okay, so just to review quickly, and then we're going to move on as fast as possible. I have one group just called Planted Variegated Plants, anything but green, where you can put any foliar plant that has variegation, but you can't put colored flowers. We have another planet for that. I try to segregate things so that we don't get people putting dumb stuff up that they don't want to see, and we don't get people trying to kill each other. Because part of the problem with the groups, and this is true of all forums, except mine, and I say that with pride, is that you get people who spit on you or act very mean because they think, it's a digital universe, people are wimps, they need to be kicked in the teeth. No, not in my groups, it's not going to happen. You kick somebody in the teeth, you're gone forever. It's real simple. Planet Bromeliad, at the time I took that screenshot, well, right now, as of tonight, it's 11,900 people. Planet Tillandsia, about 11,800 people. And there's only about 1,000 person overlap. These are not like copycats. But again, why did I do it? You put stuff on there, 24 hours a day, put up a digital photo, you can get a name, you can get cultural information, you can talk to people from 150 countries, and you can do all of that sitting in your pajamas with a cup of coffee. And it's like going to a World Bromeliad conference 24 hours a day in your own home. That's really fun. That's the most I'll say to try to get you there. All right, again, pattern variegation, heteroilex, common. Now, this genetic propensity extends into animals. And we're going to flash through. You see more darker patterning on the left, less on the right. Again, this is chimera or variegation in animals. That's real. That is not photoshopped. And this is a horse-zebra cross, but this is chimera. Again, chimeric DNA, black and white on the left, color on the right. Chimera cat, different color, mainly indicated by the different colored eyes. You know, patterning of the fur is different. Here's a chimeric parakeet or whatever. Yes, chimeric rats. Now this technically is what they call leucistic. Leucistic because to be true albino, that eyeball, the iris of the eye would have to be white. But this is as close as they come. It's an alligator or a crocodile. They have them all over the world. This is leucism, an example. You have complete white, and this is not Photoshop, this is real. This is white on the right and true normal coloration on left and right. Keep moving. Chimeric, pigeon. And then you have all kinds of chimeras and snakes and reptiles, and they're very expensive. The yellowish one at the bottom there is probably $5,000. Okay, and chimera in humans. One eye, one color, and then you have true, now that's, even though you can't see the eyes, they're very light colored, so he comes out as a true albino. All right, and what do humans do? We appropriate what plants have done for generations, for billions and millions of years, unfortunately, to use in warfare, but that's part of the application. All right, one of my favorite This is over at Rainforest. Paul Isley has this. He's an old friend of mine for 40 years. But look at that. On the main leaf there, the bottom side is all albinate. You have mixed variegation. This thing is so slow it drives me nuts. If it throws a leaf every 2 or 3 years, you're lucky. When this first came out, little tiny cuttings were $750 a piece. It's still, to get a good one, $150, $200, and okay, if you're talking about other countries, forget it, $1,000. Okay, back to Chester and Neo's. I'm going to try and race to the end here. Hellacious, that's his block of seedlings in Costa Rica. Hot Embers, Chester. Neoregelia. Okay, this is one of his great miniatures using Lilliputiana. And that's, remember now, that's a 3-inch plant, 4-inch plant. And those of you who haven't know that this is one of the slowest bromeliads ever. I mean, if it pups every 3 or 4 years, you're lucky. And so think about a variegated one. Maybe pups every 10 years? Who knows? Okay, he has 30, 40, 50 mini Neos on using his formula of striation, variegation, zonation. This is Gizmo. That's about a 4-inch or 5-inch one. Here's one that nothing to do with Chester. This is just in South Africa. This is actually a local South African hybrid off of Bromeliads, South Africa. Here's more Chester. Some of these are bad shots. Balboa, Rumba. These are different size, different form. You know, so many good ones. Here's Oh My God. Here's Gotcha. These are all Chester. Okay, now, not Chester. Here's something to show you that this is slightly striated. See in the central leaf, you see there's a couple red stripes on the middle, but look at the dark purple coloration inside the cup, and then look at this. The dark purple moves to the leaf tips, or what we call the fingernails. And it's just a very beautiful, dramatic plant. It's a tiger hybrid, Thailand. Lorena Lecter, that's his wife's name in front, and Hannibal Lecter on the, it's a cross. That's about a 24-inch plant. It's a huge, beautiful plant. These go for like $1,500 if you can find them. Very expensive. All right, another one from Chester, very early. Pimiento, our club has this. You can find this all over the place, but made like 40 years ago. Okay, keep going. Margaret, it's a sport from Royal Burgundy, and I think when Jerry Robinson from Rainforest is here, he brought this to show you this. Okay, species. Marmarata, we all have Marmarata, but here's the variegated form. And then one from Australia, Orange Crush. Neoregelia in there, I don't know. Macho, Chester, Neo Picasso. This is one from 35 years ago, like Castigado. And it's a fantastic plant. Looks like it was made on one of those spin paintings he did as a kid. All right, another one by Andrew Devonshire. Even though it's from Australia, this is incredible, just to point out subtlety. The striping, the striation is red, going up and down the leaf, horizontally and vertically. The cross hatching is red. That's unusual. So it gives it this sort of checkerboard effect. I love this. That's a mini or a midi, 6, 8 inches. All right, Chester, that's his hands. True Lilliputiana variegated, slower than anything, ridiculous. This is named after his wife, one of his greatest hybrids from about 25 or 30 years ago. And we're going to see it grown in different places of the world. Let's move on. There he is with a billy goat beard, looking kind of funky. Now, why did I say with trash? This is an example, just I want to spend a few seconds here. I go nuts for this, right? Look at that, pink on pink, big plant. What's wrong? Well, the leaves are twisted and turned. It doesn't have great conformation. This was burned. This is chewed up and ground under. And he has to do this with tens of thousands of plants each year. He might keep it to see one step further where it goes, but he told me it's gone. That's in Costa Rica. All right, Lorena, that's named after his wife, in Thailand. Let's move on. Lorena in Puerto Rico. Neo Lucifer is another great one by Chester, one of my favorites. Oh, there's the bigger shot. Look at that. I love the darker variegated plants. Okay, keep going. Local to Australia, beautiful. Milagro, this is one of the greatest ever. That's at our show 4 years ago. I don't know if it was Don's plant or whose plant it was. That's about a 16, 18-inch plant. And you see it, this laid, again, the groundwork. And there's other forms of it that aren't as good. This has a very wide leaf. It's about a 2.5 to 3 inch wide leaf. And look at that plant. It got best in show, I think, or a blue ribbon. All right, Milagro, grown in Japan. Here's another Chester, grown in Thailand, Norman Bates. We got to move on. Optimus Prime. He likes to name funny names. That's Chester. And Outrageous, Costa Rica, that's him. Red Opal, Chester, grown in Australia. Different Red Opal, grown in Japan. We're just going to move quick. Red Opal, different one, in his garden. Okay, Red Opal clones, these are different cultivars of Red Opal in Australia. And a great species, Retrosa Variegated. That's in Peter Tristram's collection in Australia. I think he's in Brisbane. All right, this is a man named Mal. Oh, God, the name just flew out of my head. His first name's Mal. And M&M Bromeliads. They're one of the top growers and retailers of bromeliads, but he buys a lot of Chester stuff. Look at that, snake charmer. That got best in show of the National Australian Show last year. Here it is close up. That's about a 30-inch plant. That's a big plant. And there it is from the distance with you see the cup. Okay, keep moving. Not a Chester plant, local California plant, but using some of the same formula. That's big, look at that, 30 inches. Excuse me. I'm running out of voice. Chester, Stellar Blast in Malaysia. Stellar Blast, Puerto Rico. Here's Scotax Tiger. And again, this may have been something he found in the jungle and then improved slightly. But look at that great zonation and the great color. And I can think you see that that may be one of the parents of Lisa Vinzant's cat's pajamas. You can see the light to dark, but she refined it. All right, Red Dog, Thailand. Unnamed, brand new. He just put the photo up 3 days ago. And then Linda Cathcart, named after Dennis Cathcart's wife from Tropicflora. That's again old, like 30 years, 30 years ago. New hybrid out of New Zealand. Love it. Another one out of New Zealand, not variegated, but again, dramatic contrast. Hybrid out of Thailand, no name. No name, Puerto Rico. New one from Chester. No, oh no, Puerto Rico, that's Puerto Rico, but that's probably one of Chester's.
Well, does he have gardens in all of these locations?
No, these are, his plants are traded all over the world, person to person, and also like Michael's Bromeliads in Florida and other places. But again, you talk about $50, $100, $200 a pop because they're so slow. This is just to show you one of our great bedding plants here in California, Stolonifera. Whoops, okay, Madame Vendor, one of the great Belgian plants. That's one of the best clones. It was in the South Bay show last year. Here's the clones, the smaller clones that Paul grows at Rainforest, and he puts these in his dish garden. And they grow hundreds, thousands of these a year, all from pups. Okay, keep going. Meteor shower. We're coming down the home stretch. This was in the South Bay show last year. One of my favorite plants I've ever seen. I just like this. Talk of the Town has concentrica, something else in it. All right, keep moving. Species, Lucidus, small plant, pointy leaves, but fantastic. Very good. Okay, yes, many of you grow St. Paulianas or St. Paulinas, I can't remember. There's so many good variegated ones, it's crazy. It's a whole other world. All right, one of the best small plants by Chester, named after his hometown in Costa Rica, Palmeiras. That's in New Zealand. We have it here. This is his in Costa Rica. Okay, Purpurated times Scotax Tiger, one of his new hybrids. Rebecca, this is named, there's a lady named Olive Trevor who has the Olive Branch Nursery in Australia. One of the best ever. She was one of the first to start growing bromeliads in Australia back in like 1965. And that's named after her granddaughter. Screaming Tiger, that's a Chester plant in Malaysia. Let's keep going. One of the all-time great production plants, Neoregelia Caroline Tricolor Perfecta. They sold tens of millions of these, all grown from pups. Twisted Sister, another great Chester plant, that's Australia. New plant, unnamed, Chester. New plant, killer, unnamed, Chester. New plant, unnamed, Chester. Chester. Stellar Blast at Chester's Place, so it looks different than the other ones, but that's it. Okay, let's keep going. Let's just keep flash by here. Wild rabbit, New Zealand. Wild rabbit, Australia. A unique one to Australia. Wow, I like it. It's a big plant. It's like 25 inches, 24 inches, whatever. A classic, I forget who did these, but it's yang and yin. So go back 1 second. Yang and yin, pretty much the opposite. Look at this. It's one of my favorite plants ever. I think this is one of Chester's plants, but look at that. With the yellow spots over the dark striation. Just stunning. Great conformation. Let's keep going. We got to get to Tillandsias. Hybrid out of Thailand. Hybrid Thailand.
There you have to call time, otherwise we're not going to be able to get out of the room on time.
Okay. How about if I just slip through? Nigellariums. Scotac. Neophytum. Let me just do Tillandsias real quick. I just want to show you the Tillandsias real quick. Come on, where is it? Garnia. Pothos. Tillandsia. So there aren't that many Tillandsias that are variegated, but the ones that are fantastic. This one's called Zebra, Ionantha. Here's another form, Ionantha, different variegated. This one's almost all white, but it's variegated. Here's a new one from Frank up in Messina. It's a tenuifolia striped. And here's very fine, see the striping there? That's considered variegation. And then you have the cyanias that were developed in Holland. Various kinds of variegated cyanias. All right, and then you have Hilde for zonation, and Flexuosa zonation. New one from Taiwan. Sublifera from Peru. And the Leucolepsis all have zonation. And that's a variegated, technically a variegated Xerographica. Hold on. Where you got Vareizias, and there's 4,000 Vareizias. That's from Chester. That's straight out of the forest. All right, 1 second. Ospinae variegated. Another one from Chester.
What is cotton candy?
Okay, it's from Australia. These are the Dutch ones. And the Great Splendide. And David Fell from Hawaii. And there are a couple fantastically beautiful variegated cycads. Uh-oh. Chester in the raw. That's not close to the camera. That's a 4-foot plant.
Surely must be a man.
And then it's interesting. I was going to do this in San Fernando in the holidays. This is actually around the world, happening around the world, without any people, sort of talking to each other. They use variegated Neoregelias on an iron frame to make a Christmas tree. Okay.